This is a Hydra. It might look like a plant, but it's actually an animal, and maybe one of the weirdest animals in the world, because it might be unkillable and immortal. And maybe it could even help us stop humans from aging. But before we get all Jeff Bezos and try to live forever, let me tell you a little bit about these weird little fellas. Hydra are a group of around 30 species of freshwater animals that are related to corals and jellyfish, and are basically just a little tube of jelly with a foot and some tentacles around a mouth. And just like jellyfish, Hydra tentacles are packed full of little poison darts that they fire at prey. But luckily, unlike some jellyfish stings, Hydra are harmless to humans and they won't make you want to pee on your leg. Quick PSA, if you get stung by a jellyfish, don't pee on your leg. Or anyone's leg for that matter. It won't help and it might actually make it worse. So, leave a like if I just saved you from peeing on your leg or someone else's leg. But if there's like a little worm or a baby insect or crustacean or something, those stinging darts are used by a Hydra to stun and kill their prey before they eat it. Some Hydra have little algae inside their cells that perform photosynthesis and give the Hydra some sugars in exchange for some other nutrients and a cozy and protective environment for them to live. This is called symbiosis, and it's exactly what their coral cousins do, which have algae inside their cells and is actually what gives coral their incredible colours. So even if these Hydra with algae in their cells can't find food, they probably won't starve. Which is a good thing, because starvation is one of the only things that could actually kill a little Hydra. Because these things are basically unkillable. Seriously. Here's some ways you could try it. You could poke a hole in them. This seems simple, I know, but if you were to poke a pretty big hole in me, I'd probably die. But Hydra, they just seal it up and carry on with their day. You could cut them down the middle. Nope, then a Hydra will just grow from each half and now you've got 2 Hydras. Okay, then cut them into like 3 segments. Well then you've just got 3 Hydra growing from each of those segments. Alright, what about essentially sticking a bunch of them together in a blender to create like a blob of individual Hydra cells? Well, this is where it gets really weird. After a little while, those cells in that blob start moving about. Cells that are meant to be on the outside move to the outside of the blob, and cells that are meant to be on the inside move to the inside. Then, Hydra heads and tentacles just start sprouting, and eventually from that soup of cells, you get a bunch of fully formed Hydra. And even the tiniest bit of Hydra tissue can turn into full individuals. One of the big reasons they can do things like this is thanks to having constantly renewing stem cells. Now, stem cells are like a blank canvas cell that can develop into any type of an organism's cells. So when a Hydra needs to regenerate a bit or even most of their body, those stem cells are there to make it happen and replace damaged cells. Which means they let Hydras do something incredible. They don't age. Hydras literally shed cells, develop new ones, and have whole new bodies every few weeks. No single cell hangs around long enough to get old, which means the Hydra as a whole doesn't get old either. So without being eaten, starved, or having their cells completely destroyed in some way, it's possible that Hydra could live forever. Which means it's possible that there's a Hydra out there somewhere that's like 10,000 or even more years old. Which is just crazy to think about. But also, could humans do the same thing? When humans age, our stem cells lose a lot of their ability to replace and regenerate damaged cells. So maybe if we could figure out how to be more like those Hydra, we could live for longer. Well, the thing is, Hydra might just be a little bit too simple compared to humans for us to do what they do. There is just too much going on compared to those little tubes of jelly. But some researchers are looking into how Hydras regenerate their nervous systems. Because if we can figure it out, then it could lead to better treatments for neurodegenerative diseases in humans. So they might not help us become immortal. Sorry, Jeff. But learning from these crazy little blobs of unkillable jelly could still open some doors to some exciting therapies that could change the lives of literally millions of people. But until then, let's just appreciate how freaky these little immortal blobs are.